African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of October 23, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group inflicted defeat on formations of 4 mechanized brigades, a Ranger Brigade, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Varakino, Iskrskopshina, Kondratovka, Korchakhovka, and Leninskoye in Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of a mechanized brigade and an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Volchansk and Dergachi in Kharkiv region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 195 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 15 vehicles, a U.S.-made 155mm M198 howitzer, an electronic warfare station, and 4 supply depots. Units of the West Troop Group improved their position on the front line. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 6 mechanized and assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Velikaya Shapkovka, Kupiansk, Kurilovka, Senkovo in Kharkiv region, and Drobashevo and Yampol in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to over 230 servicemen, 16 vehicles, 3 field artillery guns, 6 electronic warfare stations, and 5 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. They inflicted defeat on formations of 3 mechanized and mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Stranovka, Ivanopoli, Pozino, Seversk, and Fedorovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 145 servicemen, a tank, 3 armored combat vehicles, 3 vehicles, 2 155mm Western-made artillery guns, an electronic warfare station, and a supply depot. Units of the Center Troop Group improved their tactical position. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized, Ranger, assault, 2 airborne assault brigades, 4 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 Marine brigades, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Belitskoye, Grishino, Dimitrov, Zolotoy Kolodes, and Krasnoarmysk in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to over 535 servicemen, a tank, 4 NATO-made armored combat vehicles, 3 pickups, and an artillery gun. Units of the East Troop Group advanced deep into the enemy's defense. They inflicted damage on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Alexievka, Egorovka, Orestopol in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Vishnevo, and Uspanovka in the Zaporizhia region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 390 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 10 cars, and 2 counter-battery radar stations. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Novoandriivka, Primorsko, Stepnogorsk in the Zaporizhia region, Antonovka and Belozerka in the Kherson region. More than 85 servicemen, 1 armored combat vehicle, 15 cars, 3 electronic warfare stations, and 2 supply depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces troop groups inflicted damage on energy facilities that ensured the operation of enterprises of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex, assembly workshops, storage and launch sites of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, fuel depots, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 152 areas. Air defense means shot down 3 guided aerial bombs and 293 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 91,983 unmanned aerial vehicles, 633 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,630 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,605 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 30,725 field artillery guns and mortars, 44,642 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.